Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Seth and I are here to preview Arsenal's trip to Southampton. We were there last year, didn't go the way we wanted. Hopefully this is a different Arsenal. We're going to discuss that, last season's result and much more. The trip to St Mary's, a 32,000-seater ground with Robert Jones, the referee for the game. It's a 2 p.m. kickoff in Southampton on the Sunday. Listen, we're looking forward to it, Seth, and I think Arsenal have earned the right for us to be feeling excited going into these games, feeling confident. I'm doing predictions on Forever Arsenal that are around wins. I'm not always expecting us to go and blow teams away. I still have that feeling that teams are going to start to really respect what Arsenal have been doing this season and tighten up and find ways to try and cause us problems. But we're right to be confident.
No, James, of course, but there's definitely a right to be confident. I mean, we scored in every game we've played so far, this Arsenal side. That's a big positive as well, sitting comfortably at top of the Premier League, obviously top of the Europa League group as well. It's very good, and we spent a lot of times on watch-alongs, and you've been nervous many a times last season, kind of the start of this season, but now I see all that nerves have subsided. It's very good to see, and I think the fan base and myself are enjoying watching this Arsenal team thrive, and long may it continue. Obviously, it was there last season at St Mary's. It was still a good day, if you remember. It was a very good day, apart from the result. But yeah, man, this time I think it'll be different.
Well, I think we enjoyed the trip down, didn't we? And kind of the buzz, and the Arsenal fans were in great voice. And actually, I remember on the day Arsenal played quite well, but they lost. And then after, you kind of felt that top four run away from us before Arsenal went on a kind of run that pulled it back. Let's revisit that result in a little bit. You mentioned the Premier League table.
Right.
Was it 10 games, 27 points out of 30, 4 points ahead of Man City in second, 4 points ahead of Spurs. We've played a game less, so that game is Manchester City. Southampton, on the other hand, 14th on 11 points. They've started to turn things around a little bit. But did you ever think we'd be going into this trip? Compare this trip to last year's trip, where we just lost to Brighton and Palace, and it was about trying to get our season back on track, and we couldn't in that trip. This time, it feels very different. Suddenly, the top four discussion isn't what's at the forefront of everyone's mind at the moment.
Yeah, do you know what? It's hard not to go back to that last game because I remember it so well last season against Southampton. You're right, we just come off the back, obviously, losing to Brighton and Palace. I remember that's when Lacazette played the game before and he just kind of put Eddie Nketiah up top for the first start, which he was waiting for. And I think a lot of fans at the time were quite judgmental about Arteta doing that, and don't get me wrong, listen, we lost that game, but Eddie Nketiah didn't have a bad game. I remember Fraser Foster having an amazing game. Like, he had the game of his life, saving the shots from Arsenal and kept the clean sheet. So, and then going forward, obviously Eddie Nketiah, we saw what he'd done against Chelsea after that, and it was the right decision, Mikel Arteta, bringing him in. But that was a frustrating time. But I think this time it's completely different. We've got the likes of Jesus, the team are firing. Got off the back of wins as well. It's a completely different Arsenal side, and do you know what it is? I always feel like Southampton sometimes they can pull out a win. They can pull out a win against us. Like, I remember the FA Cup when we bailed out to them 1-0 as well. That really frustrated me, even though the week later we beat them 3-1. That they sometimes can get the better of Arsenal, but I do not see that happening this Sunday. I'm very confident in what I'm expecting to see this Sunday.
Let's reflect on that head-to-head record, because we lost 1-0 away last season. I echo a lot of what you said. I thought, actually, people talk about that run of 3 games, the Brighton, the Palace game. We were poor in those two, but actually I thought in the Southampton game we did more than enough to win it. But Forster had a great game. We missed a lot of big chances. Before that, we beat them 3-0. Again, that was Arteta and Arsenal's resurgence a little bit. We ended up going on a really good run, having just lost to Everton and Man United in the games before. A 3-1 win at Southampton behind closed doors, along with a 1-1 draw at the Emirates. That's when Aubameyang scored. We were going through a really tough period. We did win at Southampton behind closed doors as well. That was in Project Restart. So 2 wins in our last 3 at Southampton, but as we have mentioned, it was a defeat the last time we went. Record at St Mary's in the Premier League, our last 5. We mentioned some of those results, including a 3-2 defeat. That was Unai Emery at the time, and a 1-1 draw there as well. So a real kind of mixed bag of results at St Mary's. What do we kind of know about Southampton? Because I'm just looking at their last 5 Premier League games. They won at Bournemouth, so they managed to get a win on the board, which ended a poor run. Okay, they drew with West Ham at St Mary's. I put them here in my notes. It was at West Ham. It wasn't. It was at St Mary's. They lost at City 4-0. They lost to Everton at home 2-1, and they lost 1-0 at Villa, who have just sacked Gerrard. So it was a really poor run. People were talking about Hassan Hutel maybe not seeing through kind of the season. Maybe things had gone stale. But they're a side that in my mind, I think, well, they're progressive. They want to play good football. They kind of play a 4-4-2, but they've always had quite a few different options, played a few different ways, but largely they want to press. There's things I kind of admire about Southampton, especially as a football club, because they've always had a lot of their best players taken from them. They've had to go and replenish constantly. And to remain a Premier League and a good Premier League outfit throughout a lot of that is good. But I still don't even know what I'm going to get from them coming this week.
Yeah, I agree with you there, James. You know, they always get their players pinched by bigger clubs. I remember they made this summer they made a lot of signings of young players from Man City. I think there's 4 out of their 6 from Man City. They always have a good upbringing of talent, and like you said, they get
Edozie came in, Lavia, is it Bazunu in goal?
The goal. I've got a few.
They got Maitland-Niles in on loan as well, actually. but yeah, so what are you expecting from them? I go into this game genuinely not knowing if we're going to lose, if we're going to win 5-0, if it's going to be a really scrappy affair, if they're going to play great football and press us and suffocate us, if they're going to sit off us like they did when we went there last time. When we went there last time, they'd only just lost to Chelsea 6-1. I don't know what I'm going to get from a Ralph Hasenhüttl side.
Well, listen, when I looked at the Opta stats this morning, it said, Southampton have the fewest amount of clean sheets in the league with only 1, whereas Arsenal scored in every game they played in. So I expect there to be goals from Arsenal. I do expect us to win. I really do. I'm confident in that. I've got to keep an eye out. I know they've got a few players, but Che Adams, I feel like he's a player that I believe Saliba should be able to deal with it, and Gabriel very comfortably. But you never know. He's quite not an awkward striker, but you don't know what his best asset is, in my opinion. Every time I watch him, I'm like, oh, he scores a goal out of nowhere, and I'm like, I never would expect that from Che Adams. But
he's got a little bit of. He's a handful, but he's not the tallest.
Right.
He's got a good strike and a good pass.
Picks up
but I don't
areas.
see him as like necessarily a creative striker. He can do a little bit of everything. I think he could be a real handful for Gabriel and Saliba.
I agree. I think Che Adams is one definitely to watch when it comes to the game on Sunday. But yeah, I think we'll win. I believe quite comfortably as well. I think they might get a goal. But like I said, like their record, they haven't really, they haven't kept a clean sheet, and they are conceding goals. So I'm very confident.
I think their last clean sheet at home was Arsenal. That's what's crazy.
That is mental. Yeah, I think in their last 11, it was last 11 games.
Let's look at Arsenal's last 5 Premier League games. It starts with that defeat at Old Trafford, but otherwise 3 against Brentford, 3 against Tottenham, 3 against Liverpool, and the 1-0 win against Leeds. So Arsenal are doing their job in the league, especially since that Man United defeat. Are you worried at all about, I was sort of loosely mentioning forever Arsenal, I've seen a little bit on social media, are the goals drying up, that 3-1-0s in a row, but then on the other hand, it's 3 clean sheets?
Yeah, I believe that, Arsenal are getting the job done, whether it's dirty or clean. I feel like they're getting it done. I mentioned again, we keep scoring. We're scoring in every game. I'm not worried about the goals. Yes, I did speak about Gabriel Jesus having a lot of chances. Some he should be taking at times, but I mean, it's a good problem. At least we're scoring and we're winning games. Yeah. It's not like we're not taking these chances. I remember last season, the likes of Lacazette would have chances, or Saka or Martinelli, created loads of chances but never scoring them. And we're not winning those games. This season, yes, we are getting chances, but also winning the games. Whether we get 1 goal, I'm very assured at the back that, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Ben White, Gabriel, they can keep that clean sheet. So I'm not worried about the goal scoring record right now. I'm quite comfortable and quite comfortable in Arsenal's play.
You mentioned Jesus there. He's the one I'm going for in terms of my key battle. I'm going with him versus Dush Kaletakar, signing from Marseille. He was one that I think has been very highly rated as a young centre-back for a while. I think he stands at 6'4", decent passer of the ball as well.
Not Salisu? Not on that side?
Well, Salisu, I can't say I've watched a lot of, but from what my sort of vague reading and sort of trying to catch up. Listen, if you want a real breakdown of Southampton, you go to Box to Box. Absolutely, that's where Turkish and forgive me, I can't remember who he interviewed, but Southampton fan, they absolutely know what everything about their club. So that is the show I'm going to point you towards to get everything you need on Southampton. From my perspective, they signed Kaletakar, which was seen as sort of a very good bit of business. They brought him in from Marseille, who finished second last season in the league, played with William Saliba. But I think he came in, got a clean sheet against Bournemouth, I think played in the West Ham game, did quite well. I don't think he's had that many starts, but I think he's seen as someone who can really try and settle that defence. And with Jesus kind of, again, being a little bit wasteful in front of goal recently, I think that could be an interesting battle, especially knowing Jesus pops up in so many different areas. Be interesting to see if he can cause them some problems and get a couple goals. Let's talk about injuries. I guess it's still the norm, and it has been for the last few previews, other than Zinchenko might be back for this one.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's obviously Mohamed El-Nenny's out of a long-term injury as well as Emile Smith-Rowe. I think Arteta's going to have, pretty much a full squad to pick from, and that just fills me with loads of joy as well, especially as we spoke about before October hit, how worrying this run was. But injury-wise, the rotation that he's done in the Europa League, the games he's rotated, it's going so well, James. I've got to give credit to Mikel Arteta because I very much feared...
continues.
Yeah, hope it can touch with. I very much feared October, and not because Halloween's at the end of it. It's more obviously the run of fixtures, but we're doing very well. And big up to Mikel Arteta, he's rotating so well. The players are staying fit, and like you said, hope it continues. And big up to him. I think Carl Walker-Peters for them is out with a long-term, not a long-term, but he's got quite a long injury. So unfortunate for them because I think he's actually a very good player.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah,
definitely. And I think the battle I'll be looking at as well will be in the midfield. James Ward-Prowse in there. I mean, obviously dead ball specialist, but also a very good player. I think his dead ball ability overlooks how well he plays in that midfield. And I think him against Granit Xhaka in the midfield, maybe Thomas Partey. I'll be looking at the midfield battle, really. That's what I want to see. I want to see Granit Xhaka keep pushing his level and, keep pushing on what he's been doing with his performances, and then Thomas Partey as well. So that'll be my midfield battle. And injury-wise, I think we're set.
I think Arsenal are going to need to be very careful about how they try and stop Southampton. Against Leeds, it was very much defend your box, head the ball out, and fine. But when you've got a delivery like Ward-Prowse's, actually, you want to stop the delivery, not just think, well, cool, we'll deal with it. He's from dead ball, but also in the middle of the pitch when he gets these couple goals against Tottenham where he whipped that ball in at the back post, very difficult to deal with, and they play with the back five. So, I think you've got to, but this was last season's game I mentioned, but I think it'll be a case of trying to stamp our authority on the game and just denying him the ball rather than just trying to stop whatever he delivers into the box. So that'll be interesting. Sess, score prediction.
Score prediction for me, I'm going 3-1 Arsenal, could potentially be 4.
Whoa, he's going big. He's confident.
I am confident, and this team
right.
has proven why that is how well their performances have been so far this season. So yeah, 3-1 for me. What about you?
2-1 for me, guys. 2-1 for me. I explained
a close game, or Kate, like is it going to be?
No,
is it going to be a lucky game like Leeds?
I said as don't get us started. I think we'll go 2 goals ahead, and then they might nick one back. That's kind of the way I see it going. But let us know your score predictions, guys, in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts ahead of the Southampton game. Give us some insight. Give us some thoughts if you're a Southampton fan watching this as well. And of course, go check out Box to Box, the Forever Arsenal podcast, and everything else coming out on the channel will be live as always with the watch along, with the Starting 11 show, and with Full Time getting your reactions on Sunday. I think we'll be at Southampton.
We'll be at the game, and I would.
Oh, you left with Turkish and Robbie.
Oh, guys. What a shame!
And I'll definitely join and enjoy it.
I do want to say as well, just before we go, if you want to get obviously the jumpers that we're wearing as well, Odegaard, Air Ramsdale, shop.aftv.co.uk.
Yeah, Air Rams. Hopefully, we don't see a lot of Air Ramsdale on Sunday, but still, go support him. See you in a bit.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.